Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. I don't know. I have my own issues. Like, I get overly stressed out. I'm not great at handling it. The and well, leads to drinking stuff like that. The thing is, I mean, it just seems like everything is oh seriously, horrendously fucking screwed up. Yeah, I mean, it's like World War III, alien disclosure, fucking orbs in the sky, fucking Epstein files, fucking world. Yeah, did I mention the World War III part? Yeah, right. Economic fucking collapse, like every kind of insane thing imaginable. They're fucking putting in goddamn robots and fucking AI in place of fucking humans in every industry you could think of for like the if you look at like the job market or something, right? If you're paying attention and you can see what's going on, then you could probably notice that you've got this sort of catch-22 situation whereby the world continues to hit us with this like boomer mentality, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and get a job, while simultaneously the jobs are fucking being wiped out of existence. The pay is dropping incredibly low, and the cost of living is going through the fucking roof, which make it goddamn impossible for anybody to afford to live basically damn near anywhere in the West without being, stuck on the government tit. The problem that's I've been stressed out about this kind of shit for years, but it it just gets worse and worse because just more and more shit just piles on and on and on. And I had no fucking idea how completely zombified the majority of the population had become. I knew it was bad. I didn't have a clue how bad it was until I saw 2020, 2021, and so on and so forth. Well, I mean, I knew it was bad because I still saw people wandering around acting like everything was fine and believing in politicians and all this kind of shit, which is fucking scary enough. But not quite as scary as discovering that the population is so fucking brainwashed that if the television told them that. I literally think that people are so brainwashed that the TV could come out and the government on TV could tell everyone that they need to walk on all fours like a dog or something in order to remain safe from some kind of just make up some kind of ridiculous bullshit and as an excuse for why people need to walk around on all fours. And I think you would go out there in the world and there would only be like a couple of people maybe standing on two legs, and damn near everyone would just be like fucking on all fours crawling around or something on the fucking ground because they're that brainwashed. I mean, that's certainly how it looks now to me. Like, we're in a world that's that fucking crazy, and it just And it's just worse and worse and worse. The older generation, it's like the only. What pisses me off so much about like the boomers and stuff like that, which I think a lot of people are kind of pissed at the boomers right now, but what gets me so much about the boomers is their complete lack of fucking of awareness of like how screwed up things are. They continue to believe in a political system. They continue to believe that the economy is fucking great. They continue to think that everything is just fine and all this kind of shit. They continue to tell everyone to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But it's kind of strange though, you know, because I mean, if you look back on, you know, the 60s and, you know, when the boomers were out and about, I mean, this is one of the most rebellious. I mean, they started out like at one point, right? Being like one of the most rebellious generations in history that was totally against, you know, the government, to stick it to the man, you know, kind of thing, right? And that, you know, all the fucking, I mean, they're the OGs of conspiracy theory and all that kind of shit too, you know? But now they're just like seemingly almost entirely brain dead or something. And see, this is kind of a bad thing because they're the ones that have the money and, you know, the resources and the fucking you know, potential influence to be able to actually shift what's going on in the world. You know, they're, yeah, on some level, I mean when if there was ever going to be any kind of a hope for something in the realm of a revolution against the kind of evil shit that's going on in the world, you know, then having it just be completely like poor versus rich, like people that are can't even afford a roof over their head all trying to gather together to like go up against people who have fucking mansions or nice houses in the country and shit like that isn't gonna look isn't gonna be the best look for a thing, you know. I mean, you got these whole the boomers are gonna, you know, getting screwed too. They're fucking, I don't know, maybe they'll take some kind of notice when their fucking social security disappears entirely, or when their taxes get so fucking high that they lose their house. Who knows, man? You know what the heck it would take for them to notice that there's a problem. Oh god. And it sucks to know about the kind of shit, to have seen the things that I've seen, and to have to just and now to be like in a position, especially like where simultaneously I have to go out and I have to try to make some money so that I can get bills paid and all that kind of shit, but I don't have any kind of job that pays enough to be able to handle shit really. And I have a really difficult time fitting in with normal people because normal people nowadays, like, I'm sorry, they're fucking zombies like how terrible it is for me to say that, but like, yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I saw about everything I needed to see when the whole COVID thing was going on. You know, I saw how people literally, basically everywhere, at least around here, I was like the only one that wasn't masking up or something, basically. I mean, it was everyone, like everyone, you know? I mean, to look around and see like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of fucking people or whatever. I mean, depending on how far you go, right? During that whole COVID thing. And to be in a situation where you find that you're the only one as far as the eye can see anywhere that was capable of reading a box that the mask comes in, or of, figuring out that a piece of cloth is not good enough to stop microscopic virus particles or whatever, right? And to see that. It's crazy is like there's when that shit went down, that it's like the masks that used to exist, which I figured was, that's the type of mask you'd want to get, or something like that, you know, at minimum, right? If there was ever actually some kind of real virus or something. A nanoparticulate mask, like a nano silver nanoparticulate mask or whatever. But it's like they didn't even exist now, right? It's like they quit existing by the time that. I mean, yeah, if you bought into the thing like in the first place, then. Well, I mean, it was so obvious to me that there was so much lack of rationality and lack of logic during that shit. I mean, it's difficult to talk about that because I mean there's so much censorship and I don't know. I mean, would they still just delete the video, delete whatever you say if you say anything about how ridiculous that shit was? Because they did for years, right? I mean, like the 6 foot distance is completely ridiculous, right? I mean, and I mean, I'm talking like let's pretend that the virus particles travel through the air and say you cough or sneeze or something. Do you really think the shit doesn't go further than that, right? And then, do you think you can just walk around wearing gloves and then touching your face with the gloves, and also touching other things with the gloves, and like like let's say you touch something that was had the virus on it, and then you touched your sandwich and ate your sandwich, what happens, right? So in order for gloves to really be helpful at all in a situation like that, you'd basically have like a biocontainment fucking thing and change your gloves constantly every time you touch anything. Yeah. But nobody seemed to notice that, right? Yeah. You check out at the fucking grocery store and there's like a piece of saran wrap plastic over top of the buttons for the You go to check out, you go to pay for your stuff. It's like, really? Well, I mean, let's, again, pretend like the virus thing was real and it's a real danger or whatever. So you think that somehow putting a piece of plastic over something that everyone touches the same piece of plastic is going to somehow protect us from the virus? And like trying to stop a virus with a piece of cloth over your face. Or a rebreather mask as well. It's like it's the equivalent of trying to stop a swarm of mosquitoes from getting through a chain link fence. It's dumbest shit. Like, but what you were sort of locking in there against your face was carbon monoxide and, whatever foul stuff needed to be breathed out or coughed out or sneezed out ended up resting on your face and getting breathed in over and over and over, which is one of the reasons why a lot of people had major respiratory problems, because that's what happens when you suffocate yourself in toxins. I mean, let's say you're sick. Let's say you get like really sick or something, right? If you're coughing, sneezing, vomiting, whatever, that stuff needs to get out of you and into a trash can or something. You don't need to be breathing it in, or, like you don't, if you get a stomach flu, you don't gag yourself so that you have to re-swallow your own vomit over and over or something, you know? If you got, allergies or something, you don't like shove corks in your nose to keep yourself from the sneeze getting out or whatever. Just, and this is all the stuff I'm saying is just pointing out like basic duh kind of shit, even for the even people that believe in the viral model versus the terrain model could understand this shit. You would think. And there's so many other examples of insanity, just nonsense during the time, right? Like, well, like if you walked into a restaurant, you were supposed to have the mask on your face until you sat down to eat. Then you could have it off, because now that you're sitting down, it's safe. Never mind the whole idea of simultaneously believing in some terribly dangerous virus while having strangers that you don't know prepare your food for you. Yeah. I mean, people walking around with what, little portable shower tents or something over their head, walking around with their head in a fishbowl or whatever. I mean, just I don't know, it's getting so freaking bad. The type of stuff that I've seen so far. I mean, look at the Epstein shit, right? What the hell kind of country or world is this where tons and tons of like mountains of evidence of things being ran by like Satanist pedophiles can come out, and people that outnumber them, 100 million to one, are too afraid to fucking speak out about it or do anything. Not even willing to open our mouth or do any research or care enough to even attempt to freaking expose goddamn pedophile Satanists and that are fucking hurting innocent children and stuff. But the more, like, when it comes to a topic like that, like, that's been going on for a long time, though. I mean, even back when I was a little kid or something, Ted Gunderson, former head of the FBI, was coming out talking about that kind of stuff. Former Senator, what was it, K. Billy Hutchison or something, talked about, CPS child trafficking, and then she ended up dead with, just like Ted Gunderson did. And then freaking, there was the whole Franklin Mint cover up that, for some reason, even way back then when there were more news stations up, I don't remember ever hearing about the Franklin Mint cover up, or, the stuff that was going on at Bohemian Grove like that far back. But there have been, people talking about Bohemian Grove since the 80s and 90s. There's been, things like that. There was the whole Pizzagate thing, and everybody just laughed it off when there were tons of fucking, like, really twisted, like, videos and photographs that you could easily find out on the internet and fucking blog. There's, like, blogs, Reddit posts and shit of people showing, like, all this leaked stuff, People just don't fucking care enough, and even like as adults or whatever, right? I mean, we could very clearly look at ourselves, even like the adult population. We could look at ourselves as children in a sense, because I mean, that's kind of what we're looking at. It's like, well, for those of us that notice shit, right? Being so outnumbered by people that don't care, it's kind of like we are parentless children. Yeah, like we're fatherless children at some, Cub Scout gathering or something, and there's all sorts of tons of fucking obvious evidence basically proving that all the Cub Scout leaders are a bunch of perverts that want to drink our blood and rape us or something. But there's just like a few of us in the crowd that actually care about that or know anything about that, and the rest are just walking around like, this is fine, everything is good. Have fun, Billy. What the parents do drop you off, they're going, have fun, Billy. Have a nice time. Get me out of here. You know? It's like there's no one. What's fucked is like, I don't know, for years I've had this thought time and time again. Start to think that, you know, things are kind of so bad and people are so far gone and so comfortable with being clueless and having no idea what's going on. That maybe the best thing for me to do would just be to somehow, if I could get my hands on some kind of psychiatric drug or something, some kind of, you know, find some kind of way to be able to brainwash myself to join the fucking League of the Zombie folks that don't seem to notice what the fuck's going on, just so that I can have, you know, some sort of happiness and some sort of peace of mind and existing in a fucking society that's so far past fucking anything that makes any goddamn sense, you know? Like, I mean, this world has gotten so fucking sort of creepy to me that it's almost like, I don't know. On some level, it is almost that creepy when I go out, when I have to go out and shit. I mean, it's maybe a slight exaggeration, but I was gonna say, like, you know, like the scenes in The Walking Dead where like they've got to go sneak past like a giant group of zombies or whatever, so they have to like smear their faces and everything down with blood, and they just walk into a giant crowd of zombies and they're just like, you know, trying to blend in with the zombies so they don't get eaten. Like, that's kind of how this world feels to me now. But then you also got to deal with like the whisperers and like zombies with you know, superpowers or something, right? Like some zombies that are super athletic and they can jump over, you know. Different types of zombies. You know how like in some of the shows, like there's like different types. You know, there's whisperers that I guess are these like psycho cult people that use the zombies as a weapon or something. Wrap themselves in human flesh or whatever. I don't know. That's getting to be like what it feels like going out in public and having to deal with shit like. I don't know, man. There's this scene. I would try to record the scene or whatever and post it up on here so I could, you know, talk about it, right? Because that's kind of a pretty good example of how I feel like, you know, There's this scene from this, God, what the hell is that show? Oh, Dominion. It was based on the movie Legion or whatever. There's like all these people that are like possessed by fallen angels or something. They're basically like, psycho monster things taking over the bodies of the people. Yeah. But so you walk into this grocery store or whatever. It's like I don't know, hardware store, whatever it was, right? And there's a bunch of these things that are like, I don't know, a little extra psycho or whatever. And they're all still wearing like, uniforms and acting like employees of the store, you know? Yeah, I don't know. If I had to try and like create a visual of society the way, at least on a metaphorical level of how it looks like it's getting to be like the type of how horrific I see this place to be somewhat, you know? Imagine a zombie apocalypse like the fucking Walking Dead or something, right? But I don't know, somehow the zombies were, I don't know, honestly, I guess the closest thing I could say would be like Omega Man would be more like yeah, like it's less like the yeah, that would be a more direct way of like explaining how I feel about this place. It's almost like I'm in like Charlton Heston and Omega Man, but I have okay. Well, there's the older version with Vincent Price called The Last Man on Earth or whatever, and then the newest iteration of the same story was I Am Legend or whatever with Will Smith. The Last Man on Earth and Omega Man, I think, are better than I Am Legend because I don't know. Imagine a world where there's flesh eating, you know, mindless, like mostly mindless flesh eating zombies around, right? But they keep going to work and the bills keep coming and you're expected to keep going to work so that you can pay the bills and your work and you work alongside these zombies and you have to try to pretend to be one of the zombies or they'll bite your flesh out or something, right? And you just got the employees, the customers, damn near everyone is a zombie, and you just got to walk around pretending to be a zombie because you got bills to pay. Oh God. Yeah, I think of analogies or whatever. I don't know, man. It's just it's so fucking bad. But there's this veneer of normalcy or something on things that's got it so almost nobody seems to notice or And it could only get worse until enough people take recognition of how bad it already is, and people with resources and influence and so on and so forth start working harder to try to turn things around. Well, I don't know. A perfect example way back in the day, right, would be, I mean, to think for an instant that we, the people of America, for instance, right, could just go about our day to day lives without expecting our country to continue to get worse and worse and worse and worse, while the majority of the people sat idly by and ignored or argued over the JFK assassination and essentially allowed the culprits to get away with that, you know? And the same thing for 9/11. All these things happen, and somebody lies, and some group comes out, lies to us, gives it, feeds us with a patsy or whatever, and then the real bad guys keep getting away with everything. Okay. Uh, shit. Try to take a couple bites of a sandwich. I mean, how far fucking gone do we gotta be? There's so many examples of this, man. How far gone does our fucking country have to be and our people have to be for there to be nobody with financial fucking resources and fucking influence, hardly, or handful of lower level kind of people. But no serious organized effort that recognize. I don't know, man. I mean, there's been groups of people across the United States and other areas that have recognized that there's something wrong here for a long time, whether from one perspective or another, but essentially getting wrapped up in the whole left-right paradigm, controlled opposition type of thing. You can't fucking. There's no way to fight against an enemy if you don't know who the fuck it is, right? I mean, that's kind of basically the situation we've had. Is imagine if the mob. Let's say the mafia was running things and doing all kinds of horrible, evil stuff, right? And the people were sick of the mob and all the corruption that the mob has been doing, right? Well, if you don't even know who the bosses of the mob are, and the bosses of the mob manage to convince you that some complete strangers that have nothing to do with it are the bosses of the mob, then how exactly are you going to be able to take down the mob? Right? You can take down a bunch of patsies while the real mob bosses sit around in an office going, these dumb fucks, you know, yeah. Or like, you know, yeah, the kind of shit that's basically been going on here is like, I don't know, imagine your country was being invaded by the Chinese or something, but they had convinced everybody that it was Japanese or something. So, in response to the Chinese invasion, everyone started going after Japanese people instead of, yeah. Like, we need to go back to Nagasaki. Round up the... It's just, I mean, kind of a terrible example, but it's an analogy, right? I guess I should have went with a crazier analogy, like space aliens, you know? If your planet has been invaded by Venusians from Venus, you're not gonna beat the Venusians by attacking Mars. Yeah. This fucking crazy Epstein shit has been out pretty open for so many years. And I mean, there's been tons of evidence easy to fucking find out there of similarly horrible type of stuff, you know, since like the 1980s. And here we are, like, over 40 years later or something, and people just now starting to go, oh, just starting to become mainstream for people to have a clue about the Epstein thing. Everybody's like, oh, this really new thing has come out. Like, really, has it now? This really new thing that's come out has been out for fucking 40 goddamn years, basically. It's been fucking, you know, the information has been out there. Not necessarily exactly the same thing. I mean, you got the Franklin Mint thing, you got all the stuff Ted Gunderson was talking about, you know. But there's been all kinds of whistleblowers and shit that come out over the years trying to expose this kind of weird shit going on, and nobody fucking listens. Just like nobody listens even when they're fucking talking about the Epstein files on mainstream media at this point. It's like no matter how bad it gets, you just gotta get a job, pay your bills, and get a job, and you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and you let the Satanists fuck your children, and then you go to work, and you gotta go, yeah, like what the Oh, right, you can't afford to have children anymore because your cost of living is too high. Well, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and go to work and pay your bills some more. And if you can't afford to have a roof over your head, you sleep outside under the bushes, but you're not allowed to sleep under the bushes because that's vagrancy. And if you try to build shelter for yourself anywhere, that's a crime, and not allowed to do that. But just get a job and pull yourself up by your bootstraps and ignore the technocratic psychopaths and the fucking Satanist pedophiles that rule our world, turning this place into a shithole that from which could be no return or something, and just bootstraps, bootstraps. Oh yeah. I don't know, man. I really don't. I don't. It's so difficult for me to, like, when I look around at. Well, I mean, the job market, I think, really is a pretty good example of in my opinion, from my perspective. I look at the job market out there, and people working these basic ass jobs, and it's just like, how do they fucking do this? Like, how are they able to keep their mind? How are they able to remain calm and be happy in an environment like that for an extended period of time, to not completely go ape shit or something? How do they not? How does everybody not go fucking postal in these damn jobs, like, so many of this? Well, it's one thing to be paid, a fair amount of money to where you're making the kind of money where your whatever free time you do have is pretty comfortable, and you're building up savings, getting ahead, moving towards some kind of goal where you could end up in a better position or something, right? But to just be like working in a way where it's like you're on a hamster wheel, getting a hamster wheel to nowhere or something, but you're still able to have a smile on your face over, it's like, how the fuck? Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess people have pharmaceutical drugs and recreational drugs and promiscuity. Or they've got some kind of home life that is or there's enough in their life outside of work to distract them from how shitty that is or whatever, right? Or whatever. I don't know. Well, okay, on some level I can kind of get it, because I know there's a bunch of people that actually do have like Section 8 and subsidized housing. So for them, working some kind of job minimum wage or something is it's maybe not that bad because they're well, because the fact that their housing is subsidized and they also have food stamps on top of it and so on and so forth means that they're only that whatever job they're working at, like they're only actually having to pay like a third or a quarter of what they're making, so they're able to still save up the rest of the money or whatever. Doesn't feel too terrible from that perspective, but if you're not, if you're working some kind of minimum wage shit and you don't have numerous roommates or something, you're right, then it's like but you gotta have people around that you can stand being around and stuff. You gotta have like people of a similar. You gotta have people that are good at getting along with each other. That's another thing that seems to be true about like your normal folks is that they're so well conditioned to get along and deal with shit that's totally crazy. Uh, Seriously, why oh why didn't I take the blue pill? Right? I do. I mean, you hear people acting like, oh, I'd never want to be one of these brainwashed people, or the ship of fools or whatever, right? But it's like, I don't know. I guess I don't really agree with some of the premise of like that this guy, Matt from Quantum of Conscious says because well, I don't feel like we've got off and escaped from the ship of fools. I feel like we're trapped on the ship of fools, or maybe he doesn't feel like he is because he's got his bills taken care of and he's got a house and cat and maybe he's got some people that he can talk to and so on and so forth or whatever, right? And maybe he's able to not think too much about like how this the whole civilization is getting flushed down the toilet around us and we're still I'm just saying unless you found a lifeboat to get off of the Titanic, you're not away you haven't made it off the ship of fools or whatever. If the ship is sinking and you're still fucking on it, and I'm not talking about what it doesn't matter what your belief system is. You could be shouting at the top of your lungs, "Oh my God, the ship's going down! The ship's going down!" If you don't have a fucking, a lifeboat or something, then you're gonna fucking drown with everybody else. Even if everybody else is like, "Oh, I don't see anything wrong. Ship looks fine to me," and you're like, "No, but it's going down. It's going down." Just the fact that you know that there's something wrong and doesn't stop the ship from going down, and you're surrounded by all these other ship passengers that are trying to like drag you down to the lower decks or something, or uh, uh, I don't know, I can't stand the stress of thinking about this shit, but it's hard. It's difficult not to, right? I don't know. I need a new drug or something, you know. I need some stoma from fucking Brave New World or something, so I can be happy and yeah, right. Like Klaus Schwab said, we you would all nothing and be happy, right? Well, I need some of those happy drugs or whatever, so that I can function in this fucked up society and maybe I could I could somehow achieve having a smile on my face while the world burns down around me and everybody's just, you know. It seems like I'm living in the world where we own nothing and be happy, and most people seem to actually be happy or have gone crazy. I don't know. There does seem to be a lot of people that, yeah, perfectly happy in terrible circumstances. Or, on some level at least.